Hello, welcome. If you're new here, my name is Brooke and I am a self-authority coach. And I teach you how to live, love, and lead boldly, right? So that you can have the life of your dreams. And we do that through conscious manifestation, right? And what I primarily practice is the law of assumption. So welcome. So today I wanted to talk about something that I think is really important. And to be honest, I think I might do a couple of lessons on this because I think it's that important. And really, it's the concept of when we talk about reality creation, we say persist, right? Persist in the new story, persist in the new narrative that you're telling yourself, right? And we always say that essentially you're lying to yourself, right? Because at first you're not going to believe it. You're brainwashing yourself essentially. So if you're manifesting feeling beautiful, looking beautiful, if you've talked down to yourself your whole life and not liked what you've seen in the mirror, when you start saying affirmations of I'm beautiful and I'm worthy and I'm pretty and people find me attractive, it's going to feel like a lie at first, right? That's natural and that's normal with this process. So we always say that it's going to feel like a lie at first. And so I want to hone in on the fact that if people doubt manifestation, right? If you have any sort of doubt whether or not this works, it's because your brain is impartial, right? I'm sure you all have heard me say, your brain is impartial, it doesn't matter. But what does that mean? What does it mean that your brain is impartial? It means that your brain doesn't know the difference between what is real, right? What you're seeing in your 3D, which is actually really a illusion, but it doesn't know what it's seeing in the 3D as real versus the lie or the story that you tell yourself, right? Because it's impartial. So I was thinking of an example and I thought it was a good one to share with you all. So think about it like this. If you are getting ready for work and you're headed to a job that you don't like and you're making your coffee, and you get in your car and you're driving there and you're stuck in traffic and you get frustrated and then you start to think about your coworker who never pulls their weight and you're always picking up their slack and you are constantly following up with them and they never get anything done. And then you're thinking about how you're not compensated enough and how your other colleague is compensated more than you and you do more work than them. And then traffic is continuing to traffic and you're just getting more and more frustrated. And then you realize that you have a project deadline coming up, right? And you're not going to be able to get it done because you just have so much work, right, on your plate. And you're just like, what the heck? They expect me to do it all. I have to do it all. I'm not compensated well. I'm treated poorly. My colleagues get away with not doing anything. This is BS, right? So you pull into the parking lot, you're pissed off, you walk into your office and you slam the door. Nothing in your reality happened. You created all of that in your imagination, and it's so strong of an imaginal scene that your brain didn't know the difference and your body reacted. You got tense in the car. You started to get upset. You started to get frustrated, and you turned into a raging lunatic, right? By the time you walked into work, slamming the door. And you did it by thought alone. Nothing happened to you other than you being in your car driving. So that's how strong your imagination is. So that's why we say your brain is impartial. It doesn't know the difference from what you tell it versus what it experiences. Because in that example, it was experiencing driving to work. But through imagination, it had a whole nother encounter, right? It got frustrated at the lack of leadership and the lack of support, right? So it doesn't know the difference. So it's important in that moment to pause and to say, okay, my reality is reflecting this back to me. It's showing me proof. I know that because I just had a physical reaction to it, right? And then it's manifesting because as I go throughout my day, my coworker's going to show up not pulling their weight and they're just chatting it up in the hallway. The deadline is looming. Actually, my boss came in and says he needs it sooner because I just affirmed that in the car. So in that moment, you have to pause and you have to say, who am I being right now? I'm being the victim. I'm being the one that's overworked, underpaid. I'm feeding that narrative. I'm feeding the thing that I don't even want, that I don't even like. So it's so important to be mindful of what you are thinking and who you are being at any given moment, because your brain doesn't know the difference. It's processing your dominant thought, your dominant assumption. That's what this is. It's the law of assumption. What are you assuming to be true? And it's okay. We all go unconscious. I do every day. Multiple times a day. The difference is when you understand and know your power as the creator, you catch it. And then you say, no, I'm not living in that end. I'm living from the end of my creation, what I want. And maybe in that example, it's that you're an entrepreneur. You have your own business. You have a boss that's amazing and that's supportive, or you have the best of the best team. People are always asking how they can help out. You have a healthy and safe environment at work. You feel psychologically safe at work. You feel valued. You're compensated well. In fact, you're overpaid. Having to do little work. That's the difference here, guys. So you have to be greater than your circumstances. Circumstances do not matter. You have to transcend them. You can't feed the 3D. You can't give the illusion of 3D your attention, because you have to understand and know that you created it, right? The 3D is just your past thoughts playing out. That's all that it is. It's when you were unconscious, you weren't aware of what you were thinking and who you were being. So you get to change it. That's the beautiful part. You get to change it here and now, in the here and in the now. So who are you being in this moment? And I encourage you to really start to ask yourself that question throughout the day and in all aspects of your life, right? Because I know we talk about what are you manifesting when I have clients. Yesterday, I had a couple of clients. I met with 2 of you all. It was amazing. And, I always ask, my first question is, okay, so what is your desire? And we work on that desire, which is wonderful because we're being intentional about it. But also it's important to ask yourself the question throughout the day, because remember, yes, we do hone on in specific things, specific desires that we want to experience. But you're manifesting regardless all the time, right? So ask yourself throughout the day, who am I being right now as you interact with a friend, as you interact with your love, as you interact with a family member, right? What version of myself am I being as it relates to money, as you interact with your bank account, right? You're checking your balance online, or maybe you're making a payment. Who am I being in this moment? You're manifesting weight loss. You eat a piece of chocolate and you're affirming everything I eat makes me the perfect size. And then 5 minutes later, you're saying I shouldn't have eaten this piece of chocolate. That's being double-minded, right? So it's just about having the discipline. It's totally okay that the thought comes up. Don't beat yourself up. You just become aware. And you shift it because your brain's impartial. Right? That's the purpose of this lesson, is that your brain is impartial. So just tell it a better story. Tell it a better lie. Because the one that you've been telling isn't serving you. Right? So it's really important to have the strict mental diet. It's important to understand and know that your world is malleable, right? When I say that, that means your world is like clay. You're the sculptor. You get to sculpt it through your thoughts, through your imagination. So just be mindful with what you're feeding it. That's all. Simple as that. Simple as that. All right, so if you're new, my name is Brooke. I am a self-authority coach and I teach you how to love, lead, and live boldly. I answer every single person's question. I usually do a little lesson up front and then I will get to your question. Just give me a moment. Sometimes I get behind, but I will answer your question. Keisha said, it's so true that we create our own narrative. Yes, absolutely. Barbie said, so true. All the things you think in the 3D normally never goes that way. Totally different. Yeah. Here's the thing, guys, too, is we can manifest despite our feelings, right? It's just, what are you dominantly thinking, right? Who are you being, right? You can still be anxious and manifest. Like, think of a time when you were nervous, right? Maybe you were scared to get on stage and you were scared you were going to trip and fall, right? And you were anxious, but you were affirming, like, I'm going to walk through, like, it's going to be fine, but you're feeling the emotion, right? The anxiety. And then you get up on stage, you do your thing, and you walk off and you didn't trip and you didn't fall, right? So you can still manifest despite your feelings. It's just about, what are you dominantly thinking? What are you dominantly assuming? D-Dub said self-authority. Yeah, so self-authority is you taking charge of your life and understanding that you're the creator, right? I do that through empowerment of reality creation and then also knowing your standard. That's why my content is mixed. I talk about leaving a lot, right? Because I'm like, as your self-concept starts to develop, you are not going to entertain things that you used to entertain, right? Because your self-concept is raised. While yes, you understand and know as the creator, you created it, that doesn't mean you have to tolerate it, right? Sometimes we change our minds. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to say, I don't want to focus on changing this person, so I know as the creator, I can walk away from this person, place, or thing. That's fine. As long as you have the awareness, right, that you created it. We're not saying this person did this to me and then I'm leaving, right? I also talk about leaving a lot too, because, and I think this is very important when it comes to manifestation, because I've come across it and I think that it's not always addressed. If you are manifesting a person and you are in a relationship that is not safe, I will never tell you to manifest through that and to have them change, right? Like, yes, of course you can manifest it, but I'm not going to tell you to stay in an abusive situation, right? You safety is the priority. So that's why I do the leaving content a lot in conjunction with this, because no one should be in an environment that's not safe. So the other day I was talking to a friend and we're going on vacation and it's going to be free for me. She was just like, I'll take care of it. I want to do this. I'll pay. And I was like, that's extremely generous of you. Are you sure? And she was like, yeah, absolutely. She was like, you just go ahead, and she was like, you can, plan things out. Like, this stuff is real, guys. I wasn't looking for a free vacation, right? I just affirm I always get things for free. And I do every single week, whether if it's free food, a free appetizer at a restaurant, right? And the thing is, guys, like, your reality is proof. So when you start to see your manifestations coming to fruition, pause, notice them, stand in them with reverence and awe. I really think that's valuable, because it's a reminder, it's evidence, and it's proof that you did that. You created that. I don't care how small it is. Yesterday I went out to dinner, and after dinner I was walking down the street and I knew I wanted to go into this chocolate shop. So outside they were giving, thank you so much, Lex. They were giving free samples. And so I was like, I always get free things, right? Even though it was a free sample, still acknowledge it as a manifestation, because they didn't have to be there giving out stuff for free. I was going in there to buy chocolate anyway. So the fact that they had a free sample was extremely helpful, because I got to taste it beforehand. If I didn't affirm that, maybe I would have just had to guess, just pick the one that looked the best. But I was able to try them all, and then I knew which one I wanted to buy, right? So it doesn't matter how small the experience is. Honor it as a manifestation, because it is. To me, that's a manifestation. I don't care that other people are getting the free sample. It's still something I affirm. They were standing outside at the time that I walked up. That didn't have to happen, right? That's not coincidence. That's something I affirm. I always get stuff for free. So start to really be mindful of the things that you're experiencing and have pause and gratitude. Whenever that happens, I always say thank you more, please, because I'm affirming, yes, I want more of this. User said expectation is the breeding ground for manifestation. You know what? I think that's beautiful, right? Like, start expecting miracles to happen. Expect the good thing. If you can expect that bad things are going to happen and doomsday prep and predict how things are just not going to work out, you can put your energy into how good it could turn out, right? Stop assuming worst case scenario. Stop trying to anticipate the bad, because then you're creating the bad. So expect miracles to happen, right? Expect, today something wonderful is going to happen to me. I do that often. I say, something wonderful is going to happen to me today, right? So yeah, expectation. What are you expecting? Are you expecting the best or are you expecting the worst? And if you expect the worst, you just correct it. That's all. That's it. It happens to me. I had a client call yesterday with one of you, and beforehand, I was like, oh, is like my internet gonna go out? I'm not sure. And then I was like, why are you thinking that? Why would I put my attention there? So then I stopped in the moment and I was like, of course not. You're excited about this call because I love meeting with you all for the first time. I also love meeting with you all again when you repeat, but the first time's always so fun. So anyways, I was like, no, I'm going to focus on how excited I am to meet with this person, right? And then you know what I did? I logged into Zoom and it said your microphone isn't working. It's because I was anticipating something bad to happen. And then I restarted my computer and it was fine. But it's like our thoughts really do become things. So we have to just be mindful of what are we thinking. So start to expect miracles, expect good. And the thing is, it was resolved because I shifted it in that moment when I was like, is my internet going to go out? I was like, no, I'm not giving that my attention. No. Right? So it's just about staying on top of your thoughts. It happens to me. It happens to all of us. At the end of the day, we're all having a human experience, right? It's just about being consciously aware of who we're being, how we're acting, how we're thinking. Christian said, yeah, now I ask places for free soda. They usually say yes. If they say no, I just buy it. Honestly, Christian, thank you for that. I love that. So here's the thing, guys. When you're a conscious creator and a manifester, and I know Christian has been on here many times and he wholeheartedly understands these concepts just in the way that he frames things, asks things, and contributes. When you get to a place of understanding and knowing your power, you don't even have to sit back and wait, right? Of like, oh, I always get free things. You know what I mean? It's not that I'm waiting. I'm not even in a state of waiting. I'm just not shocked when it arrives. It happens multiple times. But you could also be bold, right? Christian is just asking because he's like, I'm the creator, so I'm just going to ask, right? Like, who asked that? Can I get this for free? The creator that knows that they get stuff for free. You can get to a place where not only things come to you, but you command it through a request, right? And you're not commanding it by saying, I demand you to give this to me, but you have the brazen impotence, the knowing that you can ask and you'll receive. And then if they just say no, you just buy it, right? Why wouldn't you go through life in receivership? I had someone on a live a few weeks ago, and they really thought that it was wrong that I claimed that I always got stuff for free because I said it was entitlement. And my response to that was, well, I think it's, what do you think you're worthy of? We're here to receive. We're here to experience life. So anyways, Christian, I love that, right? It's gifted. Thank you for the follow. Christian said, if you expect the worst and it happens, you're a powerful manifester. Yeah, you're powerful. Exactly. Because it's going to happen either way, right? You saying things are not going to work out for me is an affirmation. You saying that I am fat is an affirmation. You saying that they are dating someone else is an affirmation. everything that we think. So, yeah, you are powerful. So just start to expect the best. Expect the best always in all ways, right? Always in all ways. Be open to possibility, right? That's the other thing. It's not your responsibility to know the how when it comes to manifestation too. Let yourself be surprised. Don't try and control it, right? When you're trying to control it, that's also saying that you don't have it. You just have to walk through life with ease. I just know that the next step I take, there's going to be road in front of me, right? I'm not anticipating that, oh, is there going to be a cliff, right? You just keep walking as you're walking, literally left foot, right foot. You trust and know that the ground is supporting you. You're not going to fall. It's not going to be quicksand, right? In the next step. That's an assumption you have, is that the ground is stable and it's going to support you. You're not consciously thinking it, just like you're not consciously thinking that you're gonna get fired when you get fired because you had bad thoughts about how you hated your job and nobody liked you and people thought that you weren't competent, right? So make an assumption that works for you. Assume that you're always supported. Assume that things always work out for you. Barbie said, when people say when you ask for something, you don't always get it. People say when you ask for something, you don't always get it. You're saying like other manifestation coaches, or are you just saying people in general? Okay, let's just say people in general. People are saying like if you ask for something, you don't always get it. No facts are final. You're the conscious creator, right? So you decide. You decide that you get it. That's what persistence means. Creation is done the moment you decide that you have it. No facts are final is a Neville Goddard teaching. And what it means is you're the one that says when things are done, right? So if you're manifesting, let's say, love, and your 3D is showing your person is with someone else, as the creator, you don't say, okay, give up. I'll just stop manifesting there with someone else. No. You say, I get what I want. I decided I want this person and they're mine, and I always get what I want, right? When you say that when you give up, you're saying that you don't get what you want, right? You're saying that you're not the creator is what you're saying. You're not persisting. So you want to persist in the knowing that you always get what you want. It doesn't matter what your 3D is showing you. So that's what we're talking about a lot when we say circumstances. Don't let someone else, if someone else is saying you don't always get what you want, then that's their crappy belief, right? I don't subscribe to that. Remember, as the creator of your reality, you create the rules. So rule number 1 for me is I always get what I want. So make that your rule. Your rule is you always get what you want. That rule doesn't apply to you. That's in their reality, that they ask for things and they don't always get it. That's their dominant assumption, not yours, because you know how powerful you are. So you're not going to assume that. They can assume it. I would just be like, that's not for me, not in my reality. Like, good on you if you want that. I don't want that. I know. I trust and know that I get what I want. I always get what I want. Things are always working out for me. Anything that I decide I have, it's done. It's mine. Period. And when the 3D shows you opposite, you say, so what? I don't care. I don't care because circumstances don't matter. And I decide when it's done. No facts are final. I don't care what the 3D is showing. I say when it's done. I say when it's final. And I know that I have it. That's what's final. That's what Neville meant is no facts are final. It's final because you're declaring what the final is. When you decide that you already have it, you're not even looking for it. As the creator, you're whole as you are. You don't even need the thing. You know you have it. It's done. So you're walking through in life and living your joy, right? You're doing things as the version of you who has your desire. You're not looking for it. You're not scanning your 3D. So that's someone else's beliefs. I wouldn't adopt that. You know, when you hear things like that, whenever I hear things like that, like I have someone on my live yesterday saying, the news is always bad. Well, that's in your reality. I follow the Good News Network. All they do is talk about all the good things that are happening in the world, right? It's the lens, it's the filter. And I understand what they were saying, right? Because there is such a thing called collective consciousness, right? Things that are happening on a global scale. It's because what does the collective believe, right? The collective is in fear. So therefore, there are these wars, right, going on. So that's collective consciousness. But in your reality, you get to decide, you get to choose. So I would not adopt that. And I would just know, like, that's your thinking, right? That's your flawed thinking. Or maybe you like that. Maybe they like that. Maybe they like saying that, you know, they don't always get stuff. I just would be like, not for me. That's not the case for me. Keisha said, I may have asked this before, but do you have to be on another level of consciousness to manifest? No, because you are consciousness, right, Keisha? So you are the creator. You're just becoming aware of your thoughts. It's not that we're on different levels, right? It's we create in the 4D in our imagination. So we just pay no attention to the 3D, right? And I'm not saying the 3D is a bad thing. The 3D is how we get to experience the material world, right? That's how we get to experience our manifestation through our 5 senses, through sight, through sound, through taste, through touch, right? So that's how we get to experience the world, but we're creating consciously as our source, as our infinite intelligence, as our God power, right? So you're just being conscious. You are consciousness itself. Consciousness, universe, source, infinite intelligence. It's all the same. So you're just becoming aware of your thoughts, right? Remember, every single thing that you think is manifesting. So let's say, for example, you manifest, someone saying, you're annoying. That's a manifestation. You weren't at a level of consciousness. You just had an assumption that this person thinks I'm annoying. And then they reflected it back to you. They were like, she's annoying, right? We're manifesting everything. If you're walking through life and you're like, I always find money on the ground, you weren't necessarily on, some level of consciousness that's different, right? And, you're just assuming you always find money on the ground. So it's just, what are you dominantly assuming? What are you thinking? So it's not necessarily another level. It's just some things are unconscious, right? So in the example of the person thinks you're annoying, you were unconsciously thinking it, right? You weren't trying to actively manifest that. But with you winning the lottery, it's like, okay, I'm being intentional with my awareness, right? I'm putting my focus on abundance, right? I'm putting my focus on wealth, my conscious creation, right? I'm being more aware of where I'm putting my thoughts. So you create regardless, whether if you're unconscious or being aware of your thoughts, right? Consciousness is happening all the time. It's just you're either aware or you are unaware. You are either conscious or unconscious. You were either intentional or you were not intentional with what you were thinking. And then therefore it manifests. I hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, I'm happy to expand on it. Definitely let me know. Christian said, yes, women attract free drinks at the bar all the time. They expect it and it happens. So that's a really good example of also another societal norm, right? Conscious creation. There is this collective consciousness of there's a widely accepted thing of women get free drinks at the bar. And then yes, individually they believe it. And so they attract the free drink too, right? So it happens at both levels. The inner world, the person that's experiencing that in their reality. And then there is the greater collective consciousness where society accepts that as a belief. The thing is, you don't have to believe that, right? So you could be the girl that's never chosen, never looked at, and you're like, you've taken that concept and you're like, well, in my world, it doesn't apply to me. All these other girls get free drinks and I don't. Right? So that's what it is. It's what are you adopting as a belief? What are you investing in? Back to Barbie's example of some people say they, you don't always get what you ask for. It's like, Yeah, that's a wide assumption, right? People say, like, you don't always get what you ask for. Be humble. I don't want you to be disappointed. Well, then, as the creator of your reality, you're like, well, I make the rules in my world, and that doesn't apply to me. I'm the exception. And that can go in a good way or a bad way. You could be the girl that always gets free drinks at the bar, or you could choose to be the girl that's always overlooked and you never get any attention at the bar. You never get any free drinks. Men never want to engage with you. So it's just in the story that we're telling ourselves. Life is just a story. That's it. User said a closed mouth never gets fed. Yeah, that's another societal rule, right? So one person could say that and use it as something empowering, saying like, yeah, that's something that aligns with me, so I always speak up. It's all just in our interpretation. What meaning are you giving something? Right? Another person could take that and be like, I don't even have to speak up, and I always get fed, right? Or I always get what I want, because that's what that saying is really about, is getting what you want, right? So it's all in your interpretation, and the fun part is you get to choose. That's why reality creation is so fun. Thank you so much, Brit Talk. Welcome back. It's good to see you. But that's why reality creation is fun, because you get to decide, right? You can take all of these societal paradigms, right? Of a closed mouth never gets fed, good things never happen, bad things always happen to good people, right? How many times have you heard that? You don't have to accept that. Another person might want to. I wouldn't want to. I would say that doesn't apply to me. I'm a good person, and good things always happen to me because I'm good. So it's just about, where are you placing your attention? Where are you putting your focus? What story are you telling yourself? That's it. Egypt said you really have to be aware of negative around you. Yeah, when you start doing this work, thank you so much, you just start to focus your perception of the world through the filter you want, right? It's just a filter. It's just a lens. It's just a prescription. So how are you choosing to experience your world, right? How do you want to experience it? When I first started this work, there were so many friends where we would go out and they would start shit talking, and I just sat there awkwardly, right? Because I was like, I'm just not going to engage with this. Because remember, yes, we're conscious creators. We're conscious manifestors. I can manifest that. My friends are positive. They always have positive things to say. That doesn't mean that we're not experiencing our 3D. So in the 3D, I just don't engage with it, right? Because I'm like, that's not really something I want to experience. I know that the person I'm becoming, right, my identity that I'm shifting into, doesn't engage with that. And then people are also showing up in that way because you assume they are, right? So it's about catching it in the moment, just not engaging with it, assuming something different. The next time you see them, they're talking about love, life, and joy, right? So it's just, what are you assuming? And treat it as a game. Just say, you know what? Like, this is like a house maybe that I'm decorating, and I'm choosing that this fixture, right? This person, this fixture goes over here, and the role that they play is cheerleader in my corner. And then over here, I've got this job, and I treat it as my bankroller, and I don't even have to show up and do much. I just like get paid to sit there, right? You get to decide however you want to experience things. So just treat every object, person, and thing as the experience you want to have. That doesn't mean we're going around telling people what to do. You're doing this all in your brain, right? You're designing your experience. And it all comes back to you, right? So you're affirming that this person is always cheering me on because they think that I'm so amazing. They love me so much. They're like my hype man. They're all about me, right? You're not going to say this person's always out to get me. They hate me. They're always trying to set me up. Because then you'll get more of that. So choose the experience that you want to have. You're the rule maker. You have to receive it before you receive it. Paradoxical, yet true. Exactly, right? You really do. You have to experience the love, right? Because as Source, as the creator, nothing is missing. So you already have the experience. You've already received it. Nothing's missing. The ego, the character, the lower self wants the thing, right? So you have to know that you already received it, and then your character, your 3D, will then receive it. But you have to be in your God state, your inner knowing that you have it. You can't be checking the 3D saying, where is it? Where is it? You have to walk in blind faith, just like the example I gave earlier. Every step you take, you have the assumption that the ground is supporting you. You don't think it's just going to sink in the next step, or that there's going to be quicksand. You know it's solid because you assume it to be. So stop assuming that your desire is going to fail you. Stop assuming that your 3D is not going to show up for you in the way that you want it to. Stop assuming that people are going to disappoint you. Stop assuming that you'll never be chosen. Have blind faith, just like taking a step. You're not questioning it. You're not saying, oh, can I take this next step? I don't know. I'm not sure. Is the ground going to cave in? Is it going to sink? Is it going to fall? Oh my God. No. You assume it's solid. Therefore it is. That's a manifestation. That's an assumption. Because our 3D is an illusion. And you have a dominant belief that the ground is solid. It's ingrained in your brain. You don't even have to think about it. So start taking and treating your manifestations in the same way. Know that it's that easy. It's just you believing it. And it's not necessarily that you have to believe it in the beginning. It just needs to be your dominant thought, right? And then it will harden into fact. It will turn into a belief. It will become your autopilot. Just like Christian said, he always gets things for free. That is like my walking on the ground thing. I affirm that same thing. I always get things for free. So it's an autopilot for me. When I got a free vacation the other day, I just wasn't surprised because I affirm I always get things for free. Keisha said, I agree. I just always have the idealism that manifestation correlates with meditation. Yeah. I've noticed that in some of your questions. And just know that you're walking through life in a state of meditation when you're aware. Awareness is a form of meditation, right? Meditation means to become familiar with. When you're meditating, you're becoming aware of your thoughts. So when you're walking through life and you're thinking poorly, or you are assuming the bad is going to happen to you, you become aware of that thought. That's a state of meditation. That's what Eckhart Tolle teaches. He's walking through life in a state of meditation because he's aware of his thoughts. So it's just about becoming aware of who you're being. It's not that you have to do this act of meditation where you sit down and you carve out, an hour or 15 minutes. You being aware of your thoughts is a form of meditation. That's a meditative state. That's you being conscious of what you've been thinking and doing. Valentine's Day, how are you, friend? Valentine's Day said, I truly enjoyed our session. It was so motivating. Yes, we met yesterday. I woke up feeling so good the next day after our session. Amazing. I'm so happy. Everything you informed me, it made so much sense. Thank you. You're amazing. We had such a good session, which obviously stays between us. I will not. You can comment on our session if you want to. I will not, but I will read whatever you're typing. But just know that I won't comment on anything. Valentine's Day said, in your opinion, is it okay to check the 3D without getting triggered? So yes and no. So who are you being when you're checking? So that's the question you have to ask yourself, right? Because if you had your desire, right? Let's say if you're manifesting the lottery and you're checking your account from the perspective of, where's the money? I don't see the money. You're being in a state where you don't have it, right? You're assuming that identity. You're saying that you don't have it. So you're not really living in the end. If you're just going on and checking your bank account because you're about to pay a bill and you see it says 0, that's okay, right? Because you're just going to imagine it says something else, but you're seeing it. And you're not getting triggered because you know that you have the money. You already have the wealth. You already have the abundance. So it's okay to check, but it's who are you being? Another example, when I work with clients, a lot of the times everybody's always manifesting an SP. If you're checking their social media, if you were with them, would you be checking their social media? Probably not. Because you know why? They'd be sitting on the couch next to you. You wouldn't need to check their social media to see what they're doing. They'd be sitting right next to you if you knew that you already had your desire. So you know what they're doing. They're spending time with you. They're having quality time with you. You guys are laughing it up, watching your favorite TV show. Maybe doing a little Netflix and chill, right? So it's who are you being when you're checking the 3D? I do think it's also valuable. Let's just say you miss your person, right? Because we're all human. So let's say you check. Just revise it and say, hubby was out of town and I just miss him and I just want to see, what he's up to, right? But you need to be honest with yourself when you do that, right? Get into that story. Know that you're checking from the perspective and not like, who's he with? Is he with another woman? Is that lipstick on the glass in the background, right? You're just saying, I miss my hubby. He's like on a trip with his friends and I just wanted to see him. If you check, right? You're not checking with that intention. You're checking from, I checked, maybe I was not, I was questioning my 3D. So it's in the story that you tell yourself. I do think it's valuable to know your triggers. I really do. Right? So if you're checking the 3D and you're getting triggered, then that just means you need to get deeper into the story. If you're checking the 3D and you're like, I just want to see what my person's up to. I miss them. Maybe they're away from me for the day, right? They had a business trip out of town. And you check and you don't have that visceral drop in your stomach, right? Because sometimes I have had this with SPs that I have manifested where they just came across my feed. They weren't even doing anything nefarious, right? Nothing bad. They just came across my feed and my heart sank, right? If I was with them, would I have that as a reaction? No, I'd be used to looking at them. So you could actually do it from that perspective of getting yourself used to looking at them and not getting triggered, right? Because it is very important to know your triggers because your triggers are just a reflection of who you're being. So if you're triggered, look at the trigger and say, what's triggering me right now? In my case, where my heart sank, I was triggered because I was like, they're not with me. Someone else might look at it and be triggered and be like, who are they with? I know they're out. And then you start spiraling, getting jealous, checking their friends' profiles, seeing their stories, getting all the facts, all the details, analyzing every picture, taking screenshots. That's what we don't want, right? So a trigger is just information. It's just reflecting to you where you are. So it's just what you do with that, right? But in general, I just don't check the 3D because I know it's mine, right? As the creator, I don't need proof. I'm resting in my knowingness. Do I occasionally check? I'm a human, yes, but for the most part, no. When I first started, I would check here and there and I would revise it saying, I miss the person, right? I just miss them. And you view it as a memory, right? Oh, I remember before we got back together, I would check their Instagram because I miss them, right? That's the story you give it. So you can't make a wrong choice, right? If let's say you check it, just don't beat yourself up. Just view it from the lens of it's a memory. You guys are together and it was just a memory that you checked, right? So just give it that meaning. It's whatever you decide. It's your world. Just say you look at it and you're not triggered. Affirm that. It could go so many different ways, right? But it's about being honest with yourself if you are getting triggered, if you are looking at it from the lens of I don't have it, if you are looking at it from the lens of wanting, of needing, of feeling like you're not whole because you don't have your person, questioning if you're enough, right? So yeah, it's I know I went all around with that Valentine's Day, but I would say you're powerful, right? You're amazing. You're the creator. So whatever you want to do with that situation, just understand and know that your desire is yours, right? Whatever you decide to do, view it from the lens of it's already yours, it's already done. And then tell whichever story feels good to you, right, in that moment. But if you're going to check the 3D, every 5 minutes, then that is, you are probably in the state of I don't have it, right? But if you're, checking here and there, just say you miss them, right? We're all human. I understand. I've been there, done that, still in there, right? With certain manifestations, because here's the thing. I'm a human too. I have dominant thoughts that I've adopted throughout the years, right? And so it's me overcoming those, me knowing that I'm source, me knowing that I'm assuming them to be true. And I have more resistance to some things than other things. When it comes to weight loss, I had lost a ton of weight. I have been the same weight for the last, I don't even know, 5-7 years, whatever. So now when I eat, old me would eat a piece of chocolate and I would say, this makes me the perfect size. And then 5 minutes later, I'd be like, I shouldn't have eaten that chocolate. The difference is I kept persisting in the knowing that I am in my dream body. Everything that I eat makes me the perfect size. So now when I eat a piece of chocolate, I don't have the thought 5 minutes later of I shouldn't eat this, right? Do I have it on occasion? Probably, maybe, but I don't really assign food good and bad meaning anymore like I used to. I literally used to sit down and have all this good and bad meaning. I have foods that I like and enjoy. Those are good foods, right? I like the taste of it, but I'm not sitting there judging everything I put in my mouth, right? You get to decide what's good and bad, but you have to be firm. You have to be rooted, right? That took time. It wasn't overnight that I just decided that chocolate wasn't going to make me gain weight. It took me time to assume that. It doesn't have to take other people time. I'm not saying that it's going to take you time. You might be a master manifester that manifests instantly. I know that I also manifest instantly too, guys, because you assume it to be true. But what I'm talking about is navigating the 3D, right? Overcoming the recurring thought that's unfavorable. So yes, I knew internally that I was an instant manifester, but you're still faced with a negative thought. So for me, it took time, right? It kept me going back to my awareness, my consciousness, and knowing that things make me the perfect size. And now I don't judge food anymore. And how long it took me doesn't mean it has to take that long for you, right? Everyone's story is different. Again, it's what story are you telling yourself? I had a really strong belief in food. I suffered with weight issues and body dysmorphia my entire life. So yes, it was a hard assumption for me to break. It just had more resistance. But again, guys, this is why we talk about persistence. You just have to persist in the new story until it hardens into fact. And now I ate literally 3 pieces of chocolate for breakfast this morning at 6 a.m. and then I went back to bed. Didn't care. Didn't think about it. You know what I mean? It's really not a big deal. A holistic says, that sounds simple, but the current program is so strong to sustain. My new identity is hard. Yeah, so that's what I was talking about, right? So first you're going to stop assuming that. Because yes, I just gave that example, right? I get what you're saying. I'm admitting it, right? I have the same thing where I assumed that foods were bad, right? So you're just going to start claiming that you manifest instantly, right? Regardless of what the 3D shows you. We understand and know we're navigating the 3D. But you're going to persist in the knowing that you're a master manifester and you always get what you want. You have everything that you want. Anything that you want is already yours because as divine intelligence, as the creator, as the rule maker in your reality, as the controller, right? You get to have what you want. So it's already done. Creation is finished because you decided it, because you said so. So it's just about persisting. When we say persistence, it's for the reason, right? We know that we have these current programs that we have to work with, right? In the 3D. And we do that through our 4D thinking. So we just ignore it and we persist in the new identity. It is work. It takes a mental discipline. A strong mental diet is what I always say. So I understand when you say it's hard. Definitely stop telling that story, because then it's going to continue to be hard. I understand what you're saying though. So you're just going to keep persisting. So you're going to say manifesting for me is easy, because it's going to start becoming easier, right? The more you practice this, so you're going to say manifestation is easy for me. I always get what I want. I manifest in an instant. I manifest with ease. My manifestations are effortless. I'm always able to embody the new identity. I'm always able to live in the end. This is easy for me. Anything I say goes. My word is my wand, whatever it is, right? Whatever it is that you are wanting to create specifically. I don't know if it's love or if it's body changes or whatever, but then you're going to keep affirming that, right? Until it becomes true, and it really will become true. I might have missed it. What's the 3D? 3D is our screen of space and time. So it's what you're seeing, PJ. So how are you experiencing the world, right? It's people in your life. That's the 3D. Places, your house, your job, a cafe you go to, right? Things, your sofa, your bank account. That's your 3D. So we're designing our world. We're designing our 3D. The 3D is your world, your 5 senses, what you experience through touch, through sound, through taste, all of those things. That's the 3D. So everything that you're seeing in your 3D is just a past thought that you had. You created it. It came from you. Everything comes from you. So what we're talking about is conscious manifestation, right? You're being intentional about what you're thinking so that you can have a good 3D experience, right? You can have what you desire, what you want. So that's what this work is. Holistic. Oh, I think I answered your question. Yeah, if you're new here, I do get to every single person's question. It just takes me a second. So I saw you put that a couple times, but let me know if I answered it. It doesn't appear that easy. Yeah, stop telling that story, because then it's not going to be easy. So definitely don't make that a dominant assumption. Say it gets to be easy. 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 It's effortless. It's easy. It's effortless. I manifest with ease. Things happen so quickly for me. I manifest instantly. I don't care when you look back and you're like, damn it, it took me 10 months to manifest this back. Doesn't matter. It's not true. You manifest it, right? Because you're claiming that it's easy. And the thing is, the more you do this, the easier it gets. When I tell you things fall into my lap for free, they really do. I just got a free vacation. I wasn't even trying. Didn't even intend it, right? Wasn't even saying I want a free vacation. I just said I get things for free. And then an opportunity came up, and now I'm going on vacation for free. So it does get to be easy. It just requires a disciplined mind. It involves you persisting in the new story. And part of your story is that it does happen for you easily, right? Even though it's not, right? Remember, even though false, it hardens into fact. Yes, it is a lie when you were first saying it, but you have to tell yourself a better lie. So right now you're living in the end of it's hard. You have to switch it to it's easy. Rosa said, what does one-on-one include? A 90-minute session with me. I have introductory videos that walk you through how to schedule your appointment, what to expect, what to bring, and then a couple of resources for you to anchor into your new identity. And then I write you a little protocol afterwards. But it's a 90-minute call with me. And we just talk about whatever it is your desire is. What do you want to work on? What do you want to manifest, right? We uncover maybe some of your hidden thinking, things that you weren't aware of, right? Limiting beliefs, limiting thoughts, things that you are assuming to be true. A lot of times, guys, we're thinking things that we're unaware of. We don't know, right? We don't know. Jonathan said, could some manifestation as a form of self-manipulation? What do you mean? Look, all of our thoughts manifest. You're manipulating your reality with your thoughts. Everything you think is coming to fruition, coming to bear in your 3D. So yeah, you're manipulating your 3D through your thoughts. What are you dominantly assuming? Are you assuming that things always go your way? Are you assuming that people love you? Are you assuming people smile at you always? Are you assuming that people laugh at you and they think you're a joke? Are you assuming that you're always under scrutiny at work? What are you thinking? That's manipulation, right? You're manipulating your 3D through what you're assuming to be true, your thoughts. Keisha said, let's say that someone believes something about you that's not true. Why ponder upon that? Well, remember, everybody's your reflection. So if you're seeing someone believe something about you and it's not true, you're assuming that, right? So everything comes from you. So you have this assumption that, let's just say, for example, they think that I'm talking about them behind their back, right? That's an assumption you have, even though you're not talking about them behind your back, right? It's not true. You haven't been doing that, but you're assuming that they think that, therefore they think that. Everything comes from you. So what you're thinking is reflected back to you. So subconsciously you're thinking, this person thinks that I'm always talking about them behind their back. They think that, I think they're a bad person. They think that I'm always scheming against them, and I'm not, because you're not. But you're assuming they think that, so then they're reflecting that back to you. I don't know what your exact situation is, but that's just an example. So remember, everything comes from you. You're the only thinker in your reality. You're commanding your reality with your thoughts. Thought transmission is real, right? If you're manifesting a specific person, you can send them thoughts. You're sending them thoughts regardless now. It's not something that you're intentionally doing, right? So when they're with the third party, meaning someone else, it's because you were sending out thoughts of, I'm not chosen, they don't pick me, I'm never prioritized, I'm always on the back burner, I'm the side chick, I'm always in a situationship, no one ever wants to commit to me, right? That's the thoughts that you're sending them. So then they're reflecting it back to you by saying, yeah, I'm picking someone else. I think this other girl's hot. I'm going to like her photos. I'm sending other women DMs. I'm texting them. So then we just have to get on top of our thoughts and know that, I'm the best. I'm the only option. I'm the only choice. I'm always committed to. Of course my person loves me. Of course my person thinks I'm irresistible. You were just sending out thoughts that you didn't want, right? So in your case, if somebody believes something about you that's not true, you were sending that out unconsciously, but it came from you. Does that make sense? What's your manifestation for 26? Well, we're always manifesting. So it's not necessarily that we're constantly, I like to walk through life in a state of meditation, right? Where everything we think is manifesting. Do I have things I'm focused on in 2026? Sure. I would like to focus more on one-to-one coaching for 26. And 25, I did a lot of coursework so that I could have affordable options for people so that they could do coursework on their own. E.T. Joe said, what if I have been affirming and nothing is happening? My SP hasn't been responsive for 4 months. Thank you for the question. Welcome to the live. So what you're going to do is you're going to stop telling that story. You're going to say that my person loves me, right? I don't know if you want commitment, but you're going to say, my person loves me. They find me irresistible. They're always doing things for me. They are always supporting me. They're always telling me how beautiful and amazing I am. They say I'm a goddess. I'm irresistible, right? You're going to go back to your self-concept of who you are, which is you having your SP, you being in a relationship, you being committed to. Because right now you're living in the end of, I don't have it. And I can tell by your question, and I know you're here to ask questions, but they're indicative of where you are, right? You're looking at your 3D saying that you don't have it. As source, you know that because you decided it, you have it. It's done. Creation is finished. So what does that mean? That means living in the end. You're not paying any attention to the 3D. Because right now you might be checking their social media saying, who are they with? What are they doing? Who are they texting? They've been, on boats with other women, at bars, at house parties. That's you living in the end of they're with someone else. That's living in the end of you not being chosen. So you have to have a strict mental diet, right? You have to have a disciplined mind. You have to know that your desire is already yours. So yes, affirming is amazing, but who are you being throughout the day? Are you going unconscious and saying, where are they? They haven't texted me. Are you checking your phone, wondering? Remember, it's our dominant assumption that manifests. So what are you subconsciously thinking? And I don't know your exact situation, KT, so, if we work together, I would be able to direct you a little bit more. But right now, your attention is on, they haven't been responsive for 4 months. Time doesn't matter. What's the 4 months? If they're with you here and now, because all we have is the present moment, right? Then creation is finished. You have your SP. Right? A good indicator also is, KT, is, what are you consuming, right? I always say, look at your feed. What's your TikTok look like? Is it full of videos on he's avoidant and he hasn't been responding and you're anxiously attached because, you pushed him away by asking questions? Or is your feed about black cat energy and he should be chasing you? Right? That's living in the end of not having it. Are you looking at tarot, saying it's coming to you, it's coming to you, it's coming to you? Because the version of you that has your desire, your feed wouldn't be about that. You wouldn't be entertaining that because your boyfriend would be sitting next to you. What do you need to watch a video about he's an avoidant on, right? Or that he's coming back. So it's who are you being? Your feed would be full of restaurant ideas, date night ideas, hotels that you're staying at for your vacation that you guys are going on in a month. So live from the end of having your desire. Who would you be being? So keep affirming, right? Know that you're the creator and know that you already have your desire, because as the creator, you're whole. There's nothing missing. Nothing is separate from you. So your SP is not separate from you. So what story do you have on repeat? Be mindful of what you're thinking. When you're checking the 3D, you're saying you don't have it. What we think expands, exactly. Like what you think, you'll get more of, good and bad. So invest in something good. Tam said, what's SP anyone? It means specific person. So when we talk about reality creation, a lot of the times people hire me because they want to manifest love, right? So we intentionally use the term SP, specific person, because typically people are manifesting back their ex. And we know as the creator, it's the story we tell ourselves. So we don't say ex because then you're saying that you guys are not together, they're your ex. So we just use the term specific person in this community. Specific person doesn't also have to be a love interest, right? When I talk about specific person, you don't have to log off and be like, I'm not manifesting that. Specific person just could mean a friend in your life that you're having issues with, right? It could mean a coworker. It doesn't matter. Just someone you're interacting with, a specific person. Typically, it's a love interest when we talk about this sort of stuff. But just know, even when I talk about SP work, it applies to anything, right? We're creating in the same way for everything, whether if you're manifesting money, whether if you're manifesting a new business opportunity, whether if you're manifesting a vacation, right? Being on a boat. Everything I'm saying applies. It's all the same. KT said, I waver in the state of having from checking the 3D, not trusting I have him. Yeah, so you're aware, right? So it's just about owning it, right? You're not going to judge it. You're not going to beat yourself up for it. What you're going to do is you're going to stand in your power, know that you're the creator, and you're going to command your reality in your knowing. You're going to trust that your desire is yours. It's done. So do a rampage, right? I love to do a rampage. I haven't even done one on this live, and I always do one. So let's do one together, right? We'll affirm together right now. So you said that you affirm, but I want you to audit your thoughts in addition to that, right, throughout the day. So after you affirm, right, you can't go back to 5 minutes later saying, where is he? Is he with another woman? Even if your friends text you and they're like, I just saw him out, you just say, so what? I don't care. So what? I know he's mine. I have him because I said so and I'm that powerful. Circumstances don't matter. So you don't entertain that story. So you're not going to invest in the 3D. You're just going to say, so what? So what? It's an illusion. You created it. It's just your past thoughts. That's it. They're just playing out. That's all it is. You can't even be triggered by it because it's like, I created this, so I'm going to uncreate it. And I'm uncreating it right here, right now, because he's with me here now. So you're going to affirm, I'm wonderful. I'm always chosen. Isn't it wonderful that I'm captivating, unique, special, and one of a kind? Isn't it wonderful that I'm worthy and deserving of love? Isn't it wonderful that my partner tells me I'm beautiful at every second of every hour of every day? Isn't it wonderful that my person is so obsessed with me? Isn't it wonderful that he always says that I'm a goddess? Isn't it wonderful that he's always planning romantic dates for me? Isn't it wonderful that he buys me flowers just because? Isn't it wonderful that he's always buying me little gifts? Isn't it wonderful that he gives me his time, care, and attention, right? You're going to start saying that, living in the end of that. If you want to check the 3D, you're going to ask yourself, if I had my desire right here and right now, what would I be doing? Your person would be sitting next to you on the couch watching a movie with you, so you wouldn't be checking their social media because you know exactly where they are. And that's with you here and now because you decided it. So that's what living in the end is. You're going to persist in that thinking. I can't tell you how many clients I work with, and while we're affirming in the session, their SP is texting them, right? Because we're shifting into that state, into that identity, into the knowing that it's yours. It's done. Creation is finished the moment you decide it. Why is that so? Because all we have is now. There is no such thing as time, right? When you say 4 months non-responsive, time doesn't matter. When you're thinking about the past, you're in the present moment. When you're thinking about the future, you're in the present moment. So if you decide right here, right now, your SP is yours, then it's done. You don't have to worry about it. You just decided it. Now, here and now, because all that happens, all that you see is here and now. Now is all that exists. So you're not worried about it. You decided it and he's here with you now. You have it now. Blissful said, can I ask how long did it take you to start seeing your manifestations? Good questions, Blissful. So it depends on the person, right? It's what you're assuming to believe, right? Remember, you're manifesting all the time. So you have an assumption that your body breathes itself. That's an instant manifestation, right? You don't have to sit there and say, inhale, exhale, right? So that's an instant manifestation. So how quickly can you get to a place where you assume it to be true? And you assume that here and now. So you just say, I manifest instantly. I'm a master manifester. Things come to me with ease. My manifestations don't take a lot of time. So I'll give you an answer because I know that people always want to know in terms of the 3D, right? The key is to know that you have it now, right? But if it's not showing up in your 3D, it's because you're still assuming you don't have it. So when you understand and know that it's yours, creation is done in the here and the now, it will show up in your 3D. So it can depend, right? There's some things that are easy. Let's say you think of a friend, right? And you're like, oh, I miss my friend, Carolyn. I haven't talked to her. And then she texts you the next day. That's an instant manifestation. You did it within 24 hours. You didn't even have to do anything. And the reason is because you didn't have any resistance. You weren't wanting and needing it. You just had a thought. You said, I miss my friend. I want to talk to her. And then it showed up in your 3D. If you were sitting there saying, I need to talk to her. I miss her so much. I have to ask her this question. I need to talk to her. I can't get a hold of her. Where is she? You're creating resistance, right? So with some manifestations, we have a little bit more resistance, like with an SP, because you really want it, right? You're saying you want the love. You want to feel valued. You want to hug the person, right? So you just have a little resistance because you're not seeing it because you want it more. That's why it's so easy to manifest a cup of coffee, because you don't have this need for it, right? So that's why we say you decide now, you give it to yourself now. Because with any manifestation, it's never really the thing that you want. It's the experience. And when I tell that to clients in my one-on-one, they're like, mind is blown. Because if you want an SP, it's not really the person that you want. It's the experience of love. You want to feel chosen. You want to feel committed to. You want to feel in union and partnership. You want to feel cared for. You want to feel adored, right? The person is kind of just the vessel of that feeling. So you give it to yourself first. That's why with manifestation, it all comes down to self-concept work. And we affirm knowing that we are love. We are love itself. We are chosen. And then it's reflected back to you in the 3D in the form of your specific person, right? Or maybe it's reflected in the form of someone else. I've manifested a specific person and had a new person show up just because I was working on my self-concept, right? I wasn't manifesting the person. I was manifesting myself. I am chosen. So then people started appearing in my 3D saying, I want to be with you. I want to choose you, right? Sorry, there's like a little ant right here. So that's the work that we're doing. So when you can know that you have it, and you do have it because you're the creator, right? You are love itself, right? You are enough as you are. You are abundance. You are wealth. You are already all of these things already. So it's about knowing you're the creator, deciding it, and not wavering, right? And when I say don't waver, guys, it's not that you're not allowed to have the negative thought or the unfavorable thought. We're humans. It's going to happen. It happens to me. It's just about shifting back into the identity, right? It's not about investing in that story, right? When the story of them starts to come up and you're like, that time they disrespected me and we got into this argument and then, he called me a name and then he stormed off. No, the second the thought comes up, you're just going to halt it and say, no, that's not me. I'm not choosing that right now. That's not my reality. I have my person. You're just not going down that rabbit hole, right? So the more and more you do that, the more you will collapse time and the quicker you will manifest. But if you keep living in the end of the old story, bringing up the old circumstances, the conditions that you created, then you'll keep creating more of that. So it depends. It's who are you being at any given moment, right? Manifestation is technically instant. It starts with a decision. You just decide it. The issue is that 2 minutes later, you decide the opposite. You go back to the old story, right? Creation is done. It's instant the second you decide it. It's just in the next moment as a human, you're deciding the opposite. Because you're letting your 3D dictate it, right? You're looking at your 3D as confirmation of not having it. But as a creator, you know you have it. So manifestation is instant. You're just inadvertently or unconsciously manifesting in the next moment the opposite of what you want. That's why Neville Goddard talks about you can't be double-minded. So we just have to become aware of what we're dominantly thinking. It's just the dominant story you're telling yourself. It's okay if the negative thing comes up. You're just going to redirect your thoughts to what you do want, and you're not going to focus on what you don't want. And that's the work. That's when we say have the strict mental diet, have the disciplined mind. Your manifestation is instant. You're that powerful. You decide now, you have it now. Continue to live in the end, and it will reflect back to you. Faith B said, I'm so excited every morning when I wake up after learning this. I love that. See, life gets to be so good. Thank you so much. When you understand and know your power, like truly every single morning when I wake up, I say thank you. And when I open up those blinds, because my room is pitch black, I just get this big old smile on my face knowing that I get to create my day. That's amazing, right? Manifestation isn't supposed to be tiring. It's not supposed to be draining. It's not supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be fun. If you're feeling drained in your manifestation, then that means you're not living in the end. If manifesting is draining for you, book a call with me. I work with people one-on-one to help you move past your story. Because this is a beautiful life. You get to live it. The choice is yours. Faith said, do we have to say I am manifesting this or that, or just say I have the thing? Just say you have the thing. You don't have to say it. I mean, you can say it, but as the creator, it's just knowing you have it, right? So you don't have to say I'm manifesting this, because to say that I'm manifesting something, right, is kind of assuming that you don't have it, right? The I am says I have it. Creation is finished, right? But I mean, again, you can use that tense if you want to, but I just like to say it's done. I don't even really use To say I am manifesting it alludes to the fact that you don't have it. And remember, you're constantly manifesting regardless. So everything you think, right? Our thoughts become things. So just claim that you have it. It's already done because you decided it. Bam. Yes, exactly. Create, manifest. Yes. KT said, so it's about not doing the things I would do from not having identity work. Exactly, right? If you were the version of you, KT, that had your man, you wouldn't be checking, or woman, I don't know what your preference is, but you wouldn't be stalking their social media, right? You'd be planning your trip, planning your vacation. So think from that version of you. What would I be doing? How would I be acting? What would I be feeling, right? You'd be feeling peace. You'd be feeling loved, right? You wouldn't be feeling anxious. So when I talk about living your joy, guys, living your joy is so key when you're manifesting your desire because you're living in the end. So go live your joy. What would you be doing? Would you guys be going to play golf? Would you be going to the movies? Go live your life. You decided that it's done, so it's done. Go enjoy. Enjoy life. Creation is finished. You're not sitting around waiting for it. It's done. You already have it. So you're going out, living your best life, going to restaurants, watching your favorite shows, laughing it up, right? You're not sitting there frustrated saying, where is it? I don't see it. You have it. So live in the end knowing that you have it. You will manifest this, KT. You really will. If you have a strict mental diet, you can do this because everything in your life right now you've already manifested. So get playful. Have fun with it. Workman's compensation is mine. I've claimed it. Exactly. It's done. The money is there. It's mine. I have it. It's mine. It's done. I got my payout. I claimed it. It's done. It's done. The money is in my account. In fact, I've already spent half of it mentally, right? You don't have to go out in your 3D and spend money you don't have, but you spend it mentally, right? It's the story you're telling. That's it. What story are you telling? Chocolate is sitting here saying he or she, sorry, I can't see your picture. Let me look. You have your desire, right? So you're living in the end of you got paid. You have it. I like the fact that you emphasize I statements. Those are so important. Yeah, they really are. Thank you, William. It all comes back to I, right? We're not trying to, when you're trying to manifest a specific person, you're not changing them. You're changing you, right? KT said, and stop micromanaging the middle. It's just he's never stopped talking to me for the song. Yeah, exactly. So like when you're micromanaging the middle, that's you saying that you don't have it, right? We're going to the end of having your desire. The how is none of your business, right? How it happens is of no relevance and no importance to you because you already have it. So why would you be worried about the how? You wouldn't even be contemplating the how if you know that your desire is already yours. Your man is already yours, or your woman, whatever, your specific person is already yours. Right? So you wouldn't be worried about the how, because when you're worried about the how, you're in the middle. You're managing, you're trying to manipulate the 3D and you just need to go to the end in your imagination claiming that you have your desire. Because the micromanaging is just you reflecting the fact that you don't have it. You don't think you have it. So you're just reaffirming. That's an affirmation, right? We're affirming everything. So when you're checking their profile, that's affirming, I don't have this. That's an affirmation. I don't have this. When you're checking your phone, you're affirming, I don't have this. When you're checking to see if he read your text, you're affirming, I don't have this. So think from the version of you that has it. I have this, it's done. I'm not worried about it. What's there to worry? Keisha said, can you suggest a book that's in-depth look into manifestation and maybe something you've already read? Yeah, anything Neville Goddard, right? His books are literally like pamphlets. They're super short. In fact, you guys have been asking me about books a lot lately. One of my things for today was to do my Amazon storefront. I started it yesterday, but I wasn't able to finish it. So I am going to do that. But anything Neville Goddard, Faith is Your Fortune, right? Is a good one. I'm blanking on the other one. I'm seeing the cover in my mind and I'm blanking on the name of it. But just look up Neville Goddard, right? That's what I'm teaching. So go read his texts. All right, so I have been on for 2 hours and 8 minutes. If you guys have any last minute questions, let me know in the chat, but I am going to log off. So if you want to catch this on YouTube, it is xo.brooke.alexandraxo. And if you want to work with me, check the link in my bio because I work with people one-on-one. I do 90-minute coaching calls. If you're interested in a shorter amount of time, like a 30-minute one, I am going to start offering that. I just don't have the page done yet, but I am going to do it. Just send me a DM and I can send you a link to book if you want to do a 30-minute call, just to offer another option. But typically my calls are 90 minutes. And then follow me on all the other platforms, right? IG, all the things.